The Warrior Code has come under a lot of scrutiny in the most recent Warrior Cats arcs. Though it has always been controversial and violated by certain cats, mainly protagonists, there's never been truly a mass questioning until after the imposter took advantage of the code to exile cats as he pleased. After that, the Warrior Code underwent changes facilitated by the Lights in the Mist. 2 new codes were added. One allows for the removal of a leader, and the other allowed for forbidden romances to become non-forbidden. The Warrior Code has been changed, but another code still stands. No, not the Bro Code, the Medicine Cat Code. The Medicine Cat Code seems incredibly inane and useless in the current age. It is also incredibly unethical as well. So should it be abolished or, at the very least, changed? Before we get started, if you are new to this channel, please think about subscribing. I regularly post both Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats content, so you'll never be bored. And to my current subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I wouldn't have gone here without y'all. Let's start with the Healer Code itself, so we are all on the same page of what we are talking about. The Healer Code has 5 rules. It reads: 1. A medicine cat cannot fall in love or take a mate. 2. A medicine cat cannot have kids. 3. A medicine cat may only retire when their apprentice is ready. 4. A medicine cat only shares dreams with StarClan. 5. A medicine cat may only discuss dreams with leaders or other healers at the Half Moon meeting. They cannot be disclosed to any other parties in or outside of the clans. Some of these codes will be combined as I go over them because they are very similar or have the same point that I want to address. The first rule set is a healer may not fall in love and a healer cannot have kids. We are going to go over the first 2 rules in the same place because the problems I have with them are very similar. The reason why this code was put in place was to keep healers from choosing favorites. The belief was that if their kit was slightly injured and another cat was injured or worse, despite the severity of the injury that the other cat had, the healer would still look after their own kin, or alternatively, their mate. There is a funny way to subvert this rule, which is to do what Mothlight did. Instead of having your mate or kits in a clan where they can distract you, move them to another clan. That way no one has to worry that you're playing favorites. Therefore, according to the logic of the rule, it doesn't matter. Another reason for the rule was, supposedly, having mate or kit would distract them from their duties, not just causing them to play favorites. There used to only be 1 healer per clan, and having them out of commission could lead to danger for the entire clan. However, nowadays there's pretty much always more than 1 healer in a clan. This was likely due to the situation with Puddleshine, where there was no healer in Shadow Clan, so he had to be trained in Thunder Clan. A number of warriors also now have at least a basic idea of herbs. Brightheart became a healer assistant for a long time, as did Ferncloud. Cinderheart became a full healer for a short period of time as well. If a healer is recovering from something like giving birth, a warrior could take over. There are also situations beyond having kits that could cause a healer to be put out of commission, such as sickness or going on a journey. Healers also have more family than just kits. They have parents, siblings, and cousins. All of those are cats who they could put above non-related family members. If the code wanted to make sure a healer was truly unbiased, it should forbid a healer from knowing who their family is at all, and have them be raised by the previous healer. Another rebuttal is adoption. Healers have partially adopted cats in the past. The Aarons are reluctant to say the word adoption for some reason, and they've never called Hollyleaf, Lineblaze, and Jayfeather Brambleclaw's adopted kits, despite him raising them and being considered their father for a considerable portion of their lives. But when it comes to healers, no one can deny that Elderheart adopted Twigkit, and Brambleberry got very close to adopting Crooked Kit after his mother abandoned him. Of course, caring for abandoned kits is just looking after a clan and its well-being, but there were queens available with Twig Kits, and Crooked Kit had his father. It is still showing preference to 1 cat, which, according to the code, could put the rest of the clan in danger. Strangely enough, cats who've already had kits are able to become leaders. Mudclaw was able to become a healer, and yet he was the father to Leopard Kit. Leopard Kit was, well, a kit when he became a healer, not a fully grown cat who could take care of herself. She also fully relied on Mudclaw, as her mother was dead. If a healer cannot be trusted to be responsible when it comes to kits and bias, why was Mudclaw allowed to become a healer when he had a Leopard Kit? This code also, strangely enough, forbids crushes, as it reads, a medicine cat cannot fall in love. A cat cannot choose who they fall in love with, but they can choose their actions. For that reason, I find it strange that love itself is banned. Moving on to the third code, which states that a healer can only retire when their apprentice is trained enough so that they can competently take their mentor's place. Unlike the other rules, I agree with this one on the surface. Becoming healer is more complex and difficult and requires more things than becoming a warrior. Healing is also a high stress position, as there's one healer for around 20 cats who are constantly getting into battles and fighting. That makes healing one of the most important positions in the clan. Without healers, cats would constantly die from infection and preventable diseases. The clan would also not have anyone to communicate with StarClan, and could not learn of any of the dangers StarClan was trying to warn them of. A poorly trained healer would not be able to heal their clanmates. They would also misinterpret signs leading to possible catastrophe. An example of that is the prophecy of Fire and Tiger, which Cinderbelt believed represented how Squirrelpaw and Brambleclaw would come together to destroy the clans or each other. However, it really meant that the two would come together to save the clans. Once you lose a healer, it is hard to gain one back, and not every cat is set to be a healer. Hollyleaf originally was a healer, but changed her mind. Flipclaw was assigned to be a healer, supposedly based off of StarClan's will. However, he was a disaster. A good healer is hard to find, so it must be the duty of a previous cat to make sure that there is a good cat set up to take their place. However, we see instances where a clan does not have a healer, but then gains one. Puddleshine was trained by the ThunderClan healers because ShadowClan did not have any to train him. Willowshine, though she had a mentor, did not have one who was skilled with omens, so she learned that skill from Leafpool. On the other paw, getting your training from other clans can lead to becoming too attached to them and having a bias. Not having a mentor in the clan could also lead to a loss of clan-specific knowledge, like ShadowClan having advanced knowledge of how to treat rat bites because they live by the carrion place. But what if there are no clans nearby, like with post-revival SkyClan? Echo Song was the first healer of revived SkyClan, and she received a bit of guidance from the two ThunderClan founders. However, the bulk of her training came from StarClan themselves. Echo Song's case was a special one though, so I do not think StarClan would ever fully train a cat again. One flaw I find in this rule is that the rule does not go far enough. There are times that a healer may be unavailable for reasons other than death, such as illness or going on a journey. A healer also does not choose when they die. If a healer dies but does not have a clear successor, the clan may be left without a proper healer. This happened with Puddleshine. Because of that, I think that the clan should always have at least one fully trained healer, and a partially trained healer on the side in case anything happens to the official healer. A good example of a partially trained healer is Briarlight. This is one of those rules that I fully agree with. If I was to change the code, this clan would certainly stay, and if I were to abolish it, I would add this code to the Warrior Code. And we have the last two codes. The fourth and the fifth sections of the code are pretty much the same thing, so I'll lump them into the shared category. The category is that a healer only shares their dreams with StarClan, other healers when it is a half moon, and leaders. This makes some sense. A healer could misinterpret a sign and cause a panic. This was seen in the books when Goosefeather interpreted a flattened bull's pelt as signs that ThunderClan needed to attack WindClan. Instead of just telling Pine Star about it, he told the entire clan. The panic from that sign led to a war and the preventable death of his own sister, Moonflower. And sometimes StarClan can be wrong, and it's just best not to tell anyone about it. This can be seen in their choice of Tiger Star to lead ShadowClan, even though he was evil and they could have chosen Blackfoot, or even Yellowfang to lead ShadowClan. What would they have done to Running Nose? Tell him no again? On the opposite end, we have what if a sign is not told that needs to be told? What if a healer is given an omen of a flood but the leader refuses to evacuate the clan? A situation akin to this one happened in SkyClan. For generations, the healers knew that the territory of SkyClan would be destroyed, but they did not tell anyone. If they told more cats, they could have prepared it, such as finding a new territory by the other clans, adapting to the two-leg place, or making the journey to the gorge at a more opportune time that would allow for the entire clan to move and not have to leave any cats behind. This code also does not take into account cats other than healers getting visions. When Firestar was a warrior, he frequently got visions. What are cats who are not healers supposed to do in this kind of situation? There is one part of this code that straight up makes no sense in its wording. In both of them, it says that no parties besides First StarClan and healers can hear of their own men, period. No, they don't need to go to a healer or leader first before telling anyone. They are quite literally not allowed to talk to any other cats about their omens according to the rules. Which we know to not be true, as the leaders constantly discuss how they are using omens to plot their actions, and healers sometimes discuss their omens with ordinary cats. I'm not sure how I feel about this rule. While it does make sense in some scenarios, it does not in others. I feel as though this rule does not properly account for its complexities. But if I were to create a new healer code, I would still include it. Those are all the problems I have with the rules. I decided to make a spreadsheet for all 5 clans, Thunder, Shadow, Wind, River, and Sky, to see how many violations there's been of the healer code. There are 4 categories: took a mate and had kits, retired too early, shared dreams or omens, and violated the warrior code. Every X in the sheets means an infraction that cannot be debated. A V means it's debatable, or that they thought about it and didn't go the full way, like having a crush on a cat and decide not to act on it. Yes, having a crush is against the healer code, but it is rarely enforced that way, and they didn't go the full mile and actually become mates with the cat they were crushing on, so I'm not giving them full credit. I've added some comments to some of the X's and V's to make it more clear what I'm giving an infraction for as well. ThunderClan is 15 infractions total, but only 9 X infractions. 10-12 so their healers have committed an infraction, whether it be an X or V. ShadowClan is 6 infractions. Only 1 is a V infraction, and that is because no one can fault Little Cloud for dying too early. 5 out of 9, or 4 out of 9, of their healers have committed an infraction. WindClan has 5 total infractions with no V infractions. All but 1 of their 6 healers has broken the code in some form. The majority of them did not break the healer code, but instead broke the warrior code. River Clan has 7 infractions, 3 of which are V-type, and all but 1 of their 6 listed healers has committed a crime. Sky Clan has 6 infractions. If you are wondering why Frecklewish and Fidget Flake broke the code, they did not reject the soft life of a kitty pet and accepted the assistance of the Daylight Warriors. 5/7 of the Sky Clan healers have broken the code. Combining all the cats who broke the code regardless of whether or not it was a V or X infraction, we get 76.9%. That means for every healer following the code or warrior code, there are 3 who do not. If we limit it to just cats with X infractions, we get only 58%. And if we limit it even further to cats who just broke the healer code, we get 56% or so. And if we further limit it to just X infractions of the healer code, we get 35%. Though 35% might not seem like a lot, imagine if 35% of all doctors committed malpractice. That would be a lot of doctors who you would not want taking care of you. Healers don't just take care of a select few cats like doctors do. They look after an entire community. Imagine having 1 healer for an entire town and having a roughly 1/3 chance that they commit malpractice. However, the cats who violate the code are, for the most part, good cats. So the problem isn't that the cats are immoral in breaking the code, which is righteous. It is that the code somehow is flawed, and thus, good cats need to break it sometimes. So what does this mean as a whole? At least 2 of the rules are redundant and can be combined with others. 2 of the rules are very dumb and strange, and another rule is violated a lot. The only useful rule in my opinion is the 3rd one, which is just plain common sense. In addition, half of all healers violate the code sometime in their lifetime. The code might seem like something that isn't working at all for cats right now. In the recent arc, the warrior code has been called into question, with some even saying that it should be removed. It is time that we apply the same logic to equally as inane set of rules, the healer code. So should the healer code be abolished? In my opinion, the current code should not be in use anymore at a minimum. Only one of its rules is of any use, and even then it doesn't account for all scenarios. The overwhelming amount of cats who defy the rules make it clear that the code is not working. However, I wouldn't go as far to say that the concept of a healer code should be removed. Having a code can help stability in the cats' lives, and help healers make difficult choices for their clan. But the current version of the code does not work in a modern version of clans, where there is more cooperation than ever. If I were to remake the code, I would at least combine the first 2 rules into one. I would also allow healers to date other healers or mediators, as that way there would be no favoritism at playing the clan and they could still take mates. I would also clarify the last 2 rules about sharing dreams, and make the procedure more clear, because right now it sounds like you can never tell anyone besides a healer, leader, or star clan your dreams, and contacting one of them is not the first but instead the final step. I've been talking a lot about removing rules, but I think that some should be added as well. One could be that, if a clan is in need of herbs, other healers must donate their surplus. That way, situations like Cinderpelts helping out Shadow Clan and Ketchupflight helping out Shadow Clan would not go against the code. Another would be that healers are free to consult with Star Clan and other healers at any time they want. This could clear up some problems that might arise from accusations of trespassing. And those were all the ideas I had for the healer code. What is your opinion on the healer code? Are there any rules you wish were included or not included in it? Comment down below. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe. I make Wings of Fire and Warrior Cats videos pretty often, and your support would mean a lot to me. And to those who have already subscribed, thank you for your continued support. I wouldn't have gotten here without y'all. Peace, Rogan out.